Starting the struggle stream off right. I did not hit the button. But what's happening, y'all? Welcome back. Welcome back. We are on another live reaction show. So, tonight I'm doing a sports reaction show. We had a lot of things go on last week, and so I want to talk about them. But first, I gotta get into the candle of the evening. Y'all already know. I'm gonna start it off right. But welcome back to Curated Topics. We doing live, but thank you for bearing with me. So let's get right into it. So what we got tonight? We have candle of the evening. We are in a Terramana bottle. Oh yeah. I don't know if y'all can see that, but Terramana bottle. If you're going to drink, please do so responsibly. All right, what's the scent in here we got tonight? Oh, my goodness, it smells so good. I always say they all smell good, but to be honest with you, they do. They all smell good. Why? Because I made them and I know what smells good. So they smell good to me, so I'm always going to say they smell good. I'm just playing. But anyway, so this was for a customer who took advantage of the Valentine's Day sale. It's going on all the way up until February 14th. Make sure you place your order. Make sure you get yours. Take advantage of the deal. Trying to save y'all some money, and not only that, trying to get you some brownie points for whoever you bought the candle for. You know what I'm saying? Fellas, get your girl something nice. I'm trying to tell you. I told you. You heard it here first. Get your girl something nice. Make sure she got a nice candle. Set the vibe right. You know what I'm saying? But let me tell y'all what we got in this candle here tonight. So, as I said before, this is in the Terramana bottle. And the scent that we have in here is Chanel number 5. Now, this is a perfume scent, and as I said before, this is part of our Valentine's Day line, our Valentine's Day collection, and this scent here is known for its complex composition. It's composed of abstract florals and powdery clean notes. So we've got contributions from jasmine, rose, ylang ylang, vetiver, and vanilla, and it really makes this scent strong and potent, but sensual and warm at the same time. Very inviting scent, very seductive scent. And it's potent, but it's not going to overpower the nose. So make sure y'all check us out, curatedsense.llc.com. Let's get into the reactions. Got a couple things I want to talk about. So give me like 2 seconds. I'm about to slide on over here. Hopefully I'm not struggle streaming too hard. I tried to figure out how to get my camera to show up again this time. I don't know what I did last time that messed it up, but I think I got it figured out. So give me 2 seconds. I'll be right back. All right. So first thing I want to talk about is this post right here. Everybody owes Sam Darnold an apology. Everybody who counted this man out, everybody who has something negative to say, including myself. I talked a little bit of trash too. You know, Sam Darnold, he was the number 3 pick overall in his draft class. As you can see here on the screen, he was in the same draft class as Baker Mayfield, who went number 1, Josh Allen, who went number 7, and Lamar Jackson, who went number 32. Now, based upon the draft, he should be right behind Baker, right? But based upon performance in the NFL up to this point, everybody had him last. Everybody had him last out of this group of guys. And to be quite honest with you, he's probably last amongst more quarterbacks in the eyes of some people as well. Now, when Sam Darnold was first drafted, he got drafted to the New York Jets, where he went through a lot of drama, trying to be the quarterback there. And, it was a lot of, okay, is he going to start? Then they had other people starting over him. I think at one point Joe Flacco was there and was starting over Sam Darnold. And then he got the starting job and then he lost it to somebody else to back up. That's not a great position to be in, especially when you're drafted third. So I want to talk about this for a second. Everybody kind of counted him out. Everybody. And, New York is a tough place to play in. They have very demanding fans, but, they still wanted to see him perform, and he wasn't playing at an acceptable level for them or for the staff there. Can't put it all off on him, but, it's your job to perform when you're in the pros. I can't say that they set him up for success. He didn't have the best personnel there and things like that, but, that's neither here nor there. He gets let go from the Jets. So after the Jets, I think he went from there to Carolina. And I want to say this was around the time when Baker Mayfield left the Browns. If I'm not mistaken, I don't know if somebody in the chat or somebody sees this. If I'm wrong, correct me. But he goes down to Carolina and he's playing there. They didn't do very much at all. And so, once again, Sam Darnold's on the back burner. Okay, so he gets up out of Carolina. He gets moved to Minnesota Vikings. Now, Minnesota, he's got a great wide receiver in Justin Jefferson. They've got a pretty decent offensive line. Things are starting to look up. I think at that time they had a good running back as well. So things are starting to look up. And, he's playing, he's doing his thing, and he leads them to 14 wins. 14 wins in a season. Okay, Sam Darnold, doing your thing. He has 2 bad games towards the end of the season. One was their last game of the season. I think that was against Detroit, where they were fighting for a home playoff spot. And he lost that game, and the media started to kind of doubt him a little bit. They're like, okay, well, was this season kind of a fluke? What's going on? He did not play well. Or he mentioned back when he was there that he was seeing flashes of ghosts from, other games past, where, it may have caused some nerves for him. Well, the media took that and kind of ran with it. All right, he's not ready for the spotlight. He's not ready to perform, this and that. And it really kind of hurt his stock when it came to re-signing and getting paid and all of those things. So then he goes to the playoffs, and I think in that first round game, they lost the game. And it was a contract year for him. And so, he's trying to do things so that he can get paid and stay with the Vikings. And the Vikings were not sold on him anymore. They're like, you lost those last 2 games. This was our year. We were looking to make a deep run in the playoffs, pause. And they counted him out. They let him go so he could go sign somewhere else. Now, I went through that backstory because let's see where he is now. I'm going to shoot right back to my screen. Let's see exactly where he is. Now, this is Sam Darnold today. This was Sam Darnold last night. This is Sam Darnold every day until the next Super Bowl. He's a champion. He is a champion. And, this year, he did the same he did better than he did with the Vikings, but same thing in the regular season. Got him to 14 wins. He's the first, if not one of the first quarterbacks to do that with two separate teams, get them to 14 wins. And this is just a testament to, to you all who are out there. And I hope you all can relate to this when I say it. All the videos I've done where I've talked about how you have to perform despite bad things happening, or you have to be able to pivot and accept the fact that, hey, things are going to change in your life, but you still got to be ready to kick it into high gear. Sam Darnold is the perfect example of this. He got drafted by the New York Jets. They had high hopes for him, but they were quick to write him off. And a lot of the blame they put on him. Well, look at him now. I know they sick over there. I know they are sick over there. And really the team who I know is even sicker is the Minnesota Vikings. They let him go because of 2 bad games when he just needed maybe a little bit more development. This is his first time under the big lights. You know what I mean? This is the first time where he was on a team where really everything came down to him, and they let him go because of the poor performance instead of looking at the whole team or doing what it took to groom him and put the right pieces around him. Now he gets to Seattle, and Seattle, they believe in him, and they say, you know what? We see your strengths. We see how you can produce for us, and we're going to put the right pieces around you. Who did they put around them? They got Cooper Kupp. They got the dude Walker, who was the running back, and he was the MVP of the night. They got him a really good coach, and then they put an amazing defense behind him. Pause. Super pause. That was crazy. But, this just goes to show you, and this is what I want you all to remember. When you're in the right position, when you're in the right place, the people there will support you and they will build around you. Yeah, you're going to have things that you're not necessarily strong at. You're going to have things that you're not necessarily good at, but those people are going to be able to see that and encourage you and help you to become better in those areas so that you can reach your goal, so that you can reach success. And look at him now. All those people who I mentioned who he was drafted with, what you think they doing? They are sitting on their couch sick. Oh man, I just scrolled over to another one of the videos. I gotta put this up so that you all can see. It was more teams than I even named. So I'm gonna scoot over here right quick. This is the story of Sam Darnold. He is on more teams than I even named. There he is with the Jets. This is what everybody was saying about him and all the negative comments. And look who laughs the most. He was on 4 teams before getting to Seattle. And I want to applaud him because that takes a level of willpower. That takes a level of determination. You don't get that far. You don't face all that heartbreak to not get to where you need to be. Had to have testament to his level of character, to his level of determination, to his level of persistence, the drive, all of that. And that's what you got to have in your life if you want to move forward. You have to look at it and say, okay, you know what? I might fail 4 times, but I'm going to go back the 5th time and make it work. I'm going to take all the little lessons I get the job done. So that's what I wanted to share. That was my thoughts on that aspect of the Super Bowl. And I want to move on to another aspect. Shout out to Cooper Kupp. Age of the revenge. The age of revenge. Because shout out to Cooper Kupp. Now with Cooper Kupp, What's his story? He played for the Los Angeles Rams, and he was considered to be the number one wide receiver at one point in the NFL. And he got injured in LA. They drafted another wide receiver, Puka Nacua. Puka Nacua started to blossom. They thought, okay, this is going to be a nice dual threat. And they actually won a Super Bowl. Then, as time is going on, Cooper had gotten injured, and he gets released by the Rams. And that's what happened last year. Last year, he got released by the Rams. He comes over to Seattle. Who's he playing with now? He's playing with Sam Darnold. And as I said, we see what happened. And the ultimate revenge, they played the Rams to get to the Super Bowl. They played the Rams in order to get to the Super Bowl. And I know that revenge is so much sweeter when it comes with a victory. Okay? Revenge is so much sweeter when it comes with a victory. Cooper Kupp is smiling from ear to ear right now, because he did what he had to do to get the job done. And he did it on another team after the team he was with had counted him out. And that's what you all have to do in your lives. When somebody counts you out, hey man, take it. Take it. Remember it. Write it down. Take a picture if you have to. Do what it is that you need to do to remember those feelings, but use them to motivate you for success. Don't wallow in it. Don't let it bring you down. If you have something that you envision yourself doing, you take that and you run with it and you use it to motivate yourself. Now, with the Super Bowl overall, I was not thoroughly impressed by the game too much. What I did like about the game, this was a defensive game. This was a defensive showcase. And both teams, up until about second half of the game, both teams were playing excellent defense. The difference between the two teams really came down to the quarterback. It really came down to the quarterback, where Drake May could not get anything going on offense. Sam Darnold made key throws. And that's really all it takes. All it takes is one or two key throws each drive. And that got him into scoring position, and they were able to kick field goals. I think the first half, it was like 9-0 or 12-0, all off of field goals. All off of field goals. And then in the second half, things started to open up, and Seattle started to score. So, first half of the game, yeah, it was kind of boring. A lot of people were looking for a shootout, or at least a closer game. I really liked that it was defensive minded, or defensive, forward. I really liked that. There were points where, we kind of got into some side conversations while watching, but I really thought that it was a good game overall. It wasn't, it was a blowout, but it wasn't like a super blowout. Things really didn't start happening until like late third, early fourth quarter. So it was at least somewhat interesting. It would have been nice to see the Patriots kind of move the ball a bit more. But as I said, hey, that's just a testament to Seattle's defense. They were not going to let them get anything easy. You had to work for everything. And it really just turned out to be a pretty good game on both sides of the ball for Seattle. Tough loss for the Patriots. But hey, they have a young quarterback over there too, who is no slouch. He was in the running for MVP. So I think they're in a good spot. Now, really quickly, I do want to touch on the halftime show. I'm not going to get, into the politics of it, because I'm not really interested in all that. I thought that it was a good halftime show, though. I really liked the performance. I really liked, there was like a story a storyline going on, and I don't know if anybody, well, a lot of people caught it because there was a lot of people watching, but the storyline about the couple who got married, I thought that was pretty cool. I thought that was pretty cool. And for the longest, I was wondering, is this real? Like, are they really getting married at the Super Bowl? First of all, thanks a lot, guy. You set the standard way too high. Like, who's gonna be able to top that? Getting married at the Super Bowl? Like, thank you, sir. You made the expectations that much greater. Thank you. But no, in all seriousness, it was cool. I thought Bad Bunny did a really good job. I need to brush up on my Spanish so that I can know what he was saying for real. But you could tell that it was just a good vibe, and it was cool, and I liked all the depictions, and I really liked how he was paying homage to his culture. I really like that. We're living in a time right now where there's a lot of crazy things going on, and there's a lot of opinions about certain things. And no matter what, we live in a country of freedom of speech. And also, we live in a country where we have multiple cultures going on. And I think that we should be in a place where people are able to celebrate where they come from. So I really like that aspect of the halftime show. That's all I'm going to say about it. I thought it was really good. And I'm going to brush up on my Spanish. I might start listening to a little bit of Bad Bunny. I don't know. Some of them songs was good. Some of them songs was kind of catchy. So I need to know what he's saying so I'm about to brush up on my Spanish. One thing y'all probably didn't know about me, I used to know a little Spanish, I took Spanish when I was in high school and college. High school, I wasn't the greatest at it. I was actually better when it came to conversation. And then when I got into college, I really got into it. And I was actually very, very good at Spanish when I was in college, to the point where they had asked me if I wanted to go on a study abroad trip. I did not, but that's because I was majoring in something else, and I was really just kind of thinking about that major. I was into science, so I was really thinking about science. I took Spanish to cover a requirement, but also I was kind of interested in, taking the class and brushing up a little bit, and, hey, it paid off. But anyway, that's neither here nor there. I want to get on to the next little sports topic I want to talk about, and that is the Browns. Now, first things first. Shout out to my boy Myles Garrett. I'm gonna talk, anytime I talk about the Browns, I'm gonna mention him first because he deserves it. He is the beacon of light over here. He is the brightest of the good spots. Pause. And so I'm gonna go through a little post about Myles right quick. Uh-oh. You tell him. Tell him, Myles. 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 I love this back and forth that he had with Micah Parsons. I don't think that Myles gets enough platform space to, talk his shit. And you know what? He earned it this year. He set the record, and Micah was up there trying to, it's interesting when you have guys who are in the same stratosphere of talent, and it's very interesting to see how they, talk to each other and how they react and on all those things. You got a guy over here talking about, oh, I could have did the same thing. Yeah, but guess what? You didn't. You didn't do the same thing, did you? Go ahead and talk your shit, Miles. Let him know he didn't do the same thing, and he who knows if he will. I'm not gonna say that he won't. But as of right now, when Miles did this and he had that watch on, he said, as of right now, it's my time. So you know what, Micah, you let Miles have his time. You let him have his time. He earned it, and he outperformed everybody. Outperformed everybody on the field. Outperformed everybody who had been on the field. He is the king right now, and you should treat him as such. Pause. That's the little bit of I wanted to talk about. Had to bring up Miles first. Next, I want to talk about this. So this next post, kind of sad. I'm not sure how I feel about it just quite yet. But we are saying goodbye to David Njoku here in Cleveland. He has decided to depart, and he is going to go to another team. Past this year, especially, I thought that his production was a bit down. Guys go through a lot playing football. And so we always have to treat these guys with a little bit of grace. Football is one of the hardest sports to play. It is certainly probably the most dangerous. And so, as I said before, we really do have to give these guys some grace, and give these guys some respect. They go out here and they put their lives on the line every day for our entertainment. And so I gotta say, hey, I really appreciate the effort that David Njoku put in. He had a couple of games where he was the star of the show for us offensively. And one of my favorite memories, he had a game-winning touchdown a couple years ago. Jacoby Brissett passed the ball to David Njoku. I want to say it was on like 4th down, and this was an amazing catch too. He had to jump in the air and hold on to the ball and was falling, almost hit his head on the ground. It was an amazing play. And so we, hey, we love you over here, man. Wish you the best. And I just hope it goes well for him. I also hope it goes well for us too, because, I want us to be better next year. I'm hoping that the Browns have a plan, especially when it comes to personnel, and this year's upcoming draft. I want us to draft some more offensive linemen so that they can protect whoever our quarterback's going to be. And I want to talk about that too in a second. But also get some wide receivers in here. Let's draft some more receivers, maybe another tight end. I'm not sure what we're doing with the other tight end, Fannin. I'm not sure what we're doing with him. But let's start to revamp. Let's start to build this thing up and see what we can do. Now on to the quarterback situation. We have a new coach, and the new coach came in and said that he does not know. He's not making any promises on whether Shedeur Sanders will start next year or what. And I've got to say, I understand where he's coming from, where he's saying, okay, I'm not making any promises. Like, yeah, you still have to earn your spot. You still have to earn your job. But at the same time, like, come on, dude. Todd Monken. We hired him from the Baltimore Ravens. He was their offensive coordinator. I don't know much about him, so I don't want to, talk too bad about him. What I will say is, even though the Ravens didn't do so well this past season, when Lamar Jackson was in the game, they did score a lot of points. They did tend to score a lot of points. So I'm hoping that, his time as an offensive coordinator, he can get it to where we can score some more. But I don't know. I don't know enough about the guy, to be quite honest with you. I was hoping that the Browns would go after Harbaugh, who came from Baltimore. He left Baltimore. He since went to the Giants, which, hey, that's cool. Good for him. I was hoping we were going to go after another person who was a head coach. But as I said before, this whole decision with the quarterbacks. Okay, yeah, I mean, I could see it if you want to have Deshaun Watson compete for a spot. I could see if you want to have Dylan Gabriel compete for a spot. I don't think the team is going to take either one of those guys. Not to say they won't take them seriously, but they're not going to follow them with the same level of motivation and with the same level of enthusiasm as they do behind Shedeur Sanders. Pause. I think Shedeur comes with a certain level of energy that's just kind of injected into the team. He comes into the game, the crowd's going crazy, the vibe is high, and that's just all of that is gonna translate into team performance. They want to perform for him so that they can all of those things that's coming around Shedeur now. I really think that we should start to build around him. I really think that we need to take the chance and say, you know what? Let's get things going. But I think that you do kind of have to make it clear to those guys, like, hey, moving forward, we're going with this guy. I want you to get behind him, and I want you to give him your best effort because, even though we won 5 games last season, in the games that we did win, especially under Shedeur, you could tell that the team energy was different. You could tell that they felt different playing with Shedeur. And that's very important. Emmitt Smith did a video or an interview where he kind of talked about this. He covered it. And I'm going to pull that up because he says it better than I do.
His roles to be determined. And I heard they wrote me down that whiteboard, they wrote it, and they said, ask him about that. And I did. And he handled it perfectly. What's wrong? Why not commit to Shedeur in 20, like right now? Why not? Is it the right move?
I guess coaches want to make sure that guys know that there is no security in their position, and they want them to be as competitive and compete for the job. No one wants to hand anything to them. This is the way that they treated Shedeur. But they handed it to Drake May.
Yes, they handed it to.
They also handed it to Sam Darnold. They also handed it to other players. So, and what does Cleveland have?
Shedeur was on my set, and he right here, while Todd Monken was there.
Absolutely.
As Emmett was saying, you see other teams take that risk and want to put their quarterback at the forefront. As he said before, they did it with Trevor Lawrence. The New York Jets did it with Sam Darnold, even though that situation didn't work out the way they wanted to, but they were still willing to take that risk. And you do kind of have to ask the question of, what's the holdup when it comes to taking the risk for Shedeur Sanders? All of last season, it kind of seemed personal. Not even kind of. It seemed personal. And you wonder what's going on in that front office, what's going on with ownership, what's going on at the coaching level where, you are hesitant. You're keeping things at arm's reach versus jumping all in and trying to build around this guy and actually build something up. So I want to finish that video out right quick. I paused because I was behind a bit, but let's finish that out.
So what's the debate? Are you gonna give it to Dylan again? I mean, when you have players. See, the one thing about players.
Give me goosebumps that night.
One thing about players, they know who the captains are.
Exactly. Exactly.
It's the organization. It's the coaches that have to get it right. You can name somebody a captain, but if they don't have the respect of the team, they're not truly a captain.
You tell me.
Exactly. Exactly.
How the players responding to you on the football field versus someone else?
Church of Emmett Smith here. Would you have named him the starter?
These guys know who to follow. So side, he is the captain over there. But then on the offensive side, it's like, okay, who do you have? Who is at the helm? And for most teams, the helm is the quarterback. So, you have to have that side of the team following behind the guy who they believe in. We saw a lot of issues when Dylan Gabriel was in the game last season. I'm not trying to talk bad about him, but, that's just what we saw. And when Shedeur Sanders finally got into the game, you saw a lot of different things. You saw a lot more energy. You saw a lot more focus. You saw just a lot more positivity coming from the offensive side of the ball. Even in games when we struggled, you saw more effort. Guys not dropping the ball as much. Guys holding each other accountable rather than just going and sitting on the sidelines. So these are the types of things that I'm talking about, when it comes to that quarterback position. You coaching, front office, y'all gonna have to take a chance. You're gonna have to take a chance. And that's gonna be the most important thing. So we're going to finish this episode on out with talking about the Cavs. Now, the Cavs have made some big moves over the past week or so. And I'm going to be quite honest. I'm not exactly sure how I feel about it right now. I talked about in my last video about how they made the trade for Keon Ellis and Dennis Schroeder by trading DeAndre Hunter. I wasn't a big fan of that move simply because we got DeAndre Hunter to be an X Factor player for us, and then we only kept him for 1 year. And it wasn't like he underperformed 2 years in a row or anything like that. So I was not really understanding that move. And I still don't quite understand that move, to be honest with you. But we also made another move. We made the move of picking up James Harden. And we traded away Darius Garland in order to get James Harden. Now, this move I was really against. First, I've talked about the fact that I like Darius Garland a lot. And this isn't really a debate about him versus Harden, because I understand why you would make that move. James Harden is an exceptional player. He's played well, 16 years in the league or something like that. I understand that part of the move, why you would upgrade for a player like that. My issue is with the more mental side of the game, the more performance side of the game when it comes to late in the season and in the postseason. We, and this is based upon what I've heard from fans said and all of that, Darius Garland doesn't perform in the playoffs. So you trade for James Harden, who also doesn't perform in the playoffs. He is known for, quote unquote, shrinking in pivotal games. And it's not just about the stats, right? It's not just about the stats. But when I'm thinking, okay, I'm trying to get to a NBA championship, get deep into the playoffs, get past the second round, I'm looking to get guys who have that hunger. I'm looking to get guys who, have that drive, they have that experience. And that is not something that I have seen out of James Harden. Now, I don't play basketball. Not professionally. I don't know everything that's going on with James Harden. I don't have the inside scoop. But my issue with that was, okay, we're trading for a guy who notoriously doesn't get the job done when it comes down to it. And I know that's going to kind of contradict what I was talking about with the whole Super Bowl take with Sam Darnold. Sam Darnold, he went through 4 teams before he got the job done. This is a little bit of a different situation, though. James Harden, he's known for having a lot of good stats, and I'm not trying to take that away from him. But there are also a lot of good individual stats. When it comes down to crunch time, you in a game 7 and you need to get a win. James Harden is known for going 2 for 15, 2 for 8, 2 for 9, 2 for 10. That was where I was like, I don't know if that was the right move. Now, the other question is, who else could we get? It's not a whole bunch of guys who have won championships. And that's true. I don't know who else we could trade for. Me personally, I was just, I've been against us trading people ever since the end of last season. Ever since the end of last season, I was disappointed that we broke up the team after last season. I didn't think they were utilized in the right way, especially when it came to the matchup against Indiana in that second round. We also had unfortunate injuries, and that was my thing. It was like, okay, we're getting upset with Darius Garland because he had the strange toe injury. But it's not like he just went and sat on the bench. He tried to keep playing. He tried to play through it in another game. In the game that he did try to play through it in, we actually won that game. So it was just like, all right, we're getting on this guy for, and we've put the injury prone label on him when he really has only been injured twice. Just the timing sucks. One injury, he had his orbital bone broken to the point where they had to break his jaw just to fix it. So, all those things happened, a bunch of complications, and then he was, couldn't eat and all this other stuff. But then you have another strange injury the very next year after being healthy for most of the year. So it just kind of sucks. And he wasn't the only guy to get injured in that Indiana Pacers series. Evan Mobley got injured as well. So, us taking that blame and putting it all on him, I just don't think that part was fair. Now, to bring it back to the trade that was made. James Harden is a sturdier player, pause. He's more available. The best ability is availability. And so I recognize, okay, we do need him in that capacity. In a, regular season capacity. This year, our season hasn't been that good. But we were on an upswing. We actually had a streak of games where we won a lot. And so I'm just, in my brain, there's a lot of, okay, if we can get healthy, we'll be pretty set. If we can do a couple more other things, we'll be pretty set. I think that this trade came from opportunity because James Harden wanted to leave his previous team or, whatever was going on with the Clippers. but also from the fact that we were panicking because honestly, we made the wrong moves after last season. We got rid of Okoro, who was our best perimeter defender. We let go of Ty Jerome. We couldn't pay him. And it messed up our team chemistry. You bring in DeAndre Hunter. He was teammates with Ty Jerome. So that chemistry's gone. And they were on the backup unit together. That was our big scoring punch for the backup unit. That chemistry is gone. And so I think that we made these moves to kind of try and fix the chemistry somehow and kind of rebuild while we're still good. I don't know. I think that, we'll be in an okay position. And I hope that, by being on this team, hey, I hope this is James Harden's Sam Darnold moment. I really do. Because I would like to see us at least make it to the NBA Finals again and hopefully win. I think that it would be an amazing story if, James Harden had to go through all those teams. I think this is now his, seventh team? He had to go all through all those teams to get here and get that clutch gene going, get that performance gene going to get the job done. Now, I'm going to play 2 videos that are about the trade. They don't all the way sum up how I feel the game, what they think about the trade. And it's kind of how I initially felt. But as I said, I'm a Cavs fan, so I got to roll with what's going on. It happened, so it is what it is. I'm hoping that we can turn it into something. But yeah, so I'm going to go to that and play that, and then we'll get back to it.
It's going to be what it's always with James Harden. Got the better player. I got the better distributor. I got the better ball handler. I got the better bucket getter. In the end, it's going to go wrong. No matter what happens, this is going to go wrong. And I've seen it too many times, and I've seen him on too many good teams for me to think otherwise. So I'm saying to you today, Ox, in February of 2026, I'm out. I love Evan Mobley. That's my guy. Love Donovan Mitchell. That's my guy. I'm good, Joe. It's going to be...
And see, that's where I'm nervous, right? So everybody's like, oh, well, he has all the intangibles that we need. He's a better playmaker than Garland was. He's a better scorer than Garland was. But is he a better teammate? When it gets down to the get down, when it gets down to those clutch moments, is he a better teammate? Now, what I've seen out of Darius Garland, when it came down to Game 7s, he performed. Game 7 against the Orlando Magic, he and Donovan Mitchell performed. In the last series last year against the Miami Heat, when we went on that run to sweep them by a historical amount, Darius Garland was performing. Up until his injury, he was performing. So, that drive and that want to be successful, it was there. And it just sucks because, we're in such a what have you done for me lately type of league right now that it's like, okay, you could have a bad month and be gone. And, you could have a rough few games and be gone. And it sucks that, he has so much inconsistency this season. But I really just think, hey, you let this guy get fully healthy. It's just, without a decent backup like we had last year with Ty Jerome, we weren't able to string along those wins while he was able to recover on the bench. And so we panicked. We spent a majority of this season being low seeds. 7, 8. I think at one point we were even a 9 seed until we hit our little run. And then now we're back up in the 4th around the spots where we belong. And, sometimes you have to be able to move with a little bit of faith. You have to be able to see the vision ahead and, plan things out. You don't just panic because things aren't going your way in this exact moment. And that's something that I think is the reason why this trade happened the way it happened, but also that's just something that if I was in the room, I'd probably say to the Cavs. I'd probably say, hey, don't make any rash decisions. You know what I'm saying? All right, but I'm going to get on to the next video. We're going to wrap it on up here in a minute. But this is the next video.
Cleveland, you're going to sign up for this? You got to be kidding me. This guy asks for a contract extension, doesn't get it, and then stops showing up for work and demands a trade. He got his contract extension 6 months ago. And I used to be one of James Harden's only defenders. But at some point, it becomes indefensible. Quitting on team after team after team, just a tour de force in lack of accountability, greatness when it matters least, and playoff meltdowns the likes of which we've never seen. Beyond stunning. Any team competing for a champion signed up to be in the James Harden business.
And that's my biggest concern right there. That's my biggest concern. And if you really know basketball, if you watched James Harden as his career has gone on, all of those things, once again, I'm not trying to be disrespectful. I think he's a great player. But it's, you've got a lot of great stats for when things don't matter. When his team should have been in the finals. When he went over to and just the way that things go when he is unsatisfied, that's another one of my big concerns. You're at the Rockets. You ask for Dwight Howard, you get him. You lose to Damian Lillard. You ask for Chris Paul, you get him, and then something else happens where you're losing. You ask for Russell Westbrook. You team up with Russell Westbrook. That doesn't work out. Then, you're not satisfied. So you got to leave. But not only that, you have to leave in dramatic fashion. Not, oh, hey, things aren't working out. It's, I got to come in unconditioned. I got to sit on the bench. I got to do all these things. Then you go over to Brooklyn. You get to Brooklyn. Everybody gets injured at weird times. But you still make it to the playoffs. You still make a run. Game 7. Where's James? Okay, you leave Brooklyn. You get over to the Sixers. We got the beard in the process. The beard grew, but the process didn't. We see Joel Embiid get MVP, but we don't see you all make it to the finals. We don't see you all make it, to compete for a chip. So then you leave from there. You go over to the Clippers. Similar things happen with the Clippers. We don't see you. I don't even know if they made it out of the first round while he was there. So that's what I'm talking about when I say I'm concerned about the trade. If we want to go deep into the playoffs, we got to have guys who also want to go deep into the playoffs. We got to have guys who want to show up in those moments. And although, Darius had those unfortunate injuries, I never thought that he was a guy who didn't want to be there and didn't want to move forward. So that's what I'm saying on that. I really am optimistic though. I watched James Harden's first game with the Cavs. I think they're playing tonight as well. And so I'm really hoping that, once again, I'm hoping that this is his version of the Seattle Seahawks. I'm hoping that this is his Sam Darnold moment. I'm hoping that the light turns on and that he wants to turn things around. I know he can show up during the season. I know that he can show up in games. I know that he is capable. Even at the age that he's at, I know he can still produce. I want him to take that and to produce and to take it further so that we can go further into the playoffs and hopefully get to another championship. I would love to see him and Donovan Mitchell win a championship together. And to be honest, despite the rumors of a returning LeBron James, I'd love to see them win without LeBron. I'd love to see them win without LeBron. And then bring LeBron in and win again. Okay? That's what I want to see. But that's all the time we have for today. I'm going to hop off of here. I have a couple of things that I am working on that I need to finish up. And I'm going to be having some big announcements for you all. I am going to be having some big announcements coming up soon. We're going to be moving into some other projects that I have going on that I'm going to tell you all about. They're just starting, so I don't want to tell too much. But as they start to get rolling, I'm going to share them out with the channel. But yeah, so stay tuned. I hope you all have a great week. It's now Tuesday, but happy Monday, everybody. Thank you for all the feedback that I have been getting in the background. Hey, drop a comment. Tell me what you think. Tell me how you feel. If you disagree, let me know. If you agree, tell me why. I want to hear from you all. I want to start turning this into a conversation. So let me know what you all think. Drop a comment. And yeah, if you haven't subscribed yet, please do so. I want to say shout out to all my subscribers. We're over 1,200 now, so I appreciate you all. I'm going to start doing some more live streams as we go on. I did promise you all a live stream dedicated to making it over 1,000 subscribers, and I'm still going to do that. I'm waiting on some things to arrive for that because I got some very special things that I want to do for that episode. But like I said, that's all the time we have for today. I will catch y'all on the next one. Peace. Have a good week.